The day Rowan Mercer heard those words, he nearly dropped the wrench in his hand. "Would you pretend to be my husband?" The question came from the last person in Willow Creek. Anyone expected to ask for help. Sadie Holloway stood across the garage floor, her hands stained with engine grease, her dark hair tied back in a messy ponytail, and tears shimmering in eyes that had always seemed too strong to cry. For a moment, the sounds of the repair shop faded away. The humming fluorescent lights, distant radio, the rain tapping against the metal roof. Everything disappeared except her trembling voice. Before we continue this emotional journey, if you enjoy heartfelt romance stories, second chances, and unforgettable love stories, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Dream Porch Tales. And tell us in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. Rowan had spent the last 3 years rebuilding his life in Willow Creek, a small American town where everybody knew everybody else's business. After losing his wife in a tragic accident, he'd become a shadow of the man he once was. The laughter disappeared. The dreams faded. His heart simply stopped believing it deserved happiness. The only thing that kept him moving was his work. Every morning, he opened Mercer's Auto Repair and buried himself beneath engines and oil changes, convincing himself that loneliness was easier than risking love again. Then there was Sadie. She owned the garage next door. At 28, she had earned a reputation as the best mechanic in 3 counties. Customers trusted her. Neighbors respected her. Children waved when she drove through town. But beneath her confident smile lived a woman carrying burdens no one fully understood. Her father had passed away 2 years earlier, leaving behind medical debts and a family farm that was slipping away piece by piece. For months, Sadie fought to save everything her family had built. Then the bank delivered devastating news. Unless she could prove financial stability and joint ownership of the property, the final foreclosure process would begin. Desperate situations sometimes require impossible solutions, which was why she now stood in Rowan's garage, asking the most unexpected favor of her life. She explained everything through nervous breaths and embarrassed smiles. The bank manager happened to be an old family friend who believed a married household would strengthen her financial position enough to buy more time. It wasn't fair, it wasn't right, but it might save her family's legacy. When she finally finished speaking, silence filled the room. Then Rowan looked at her and smiled for the first time in what felt like years. "Do I get to kiss my wife?" Sadie's eyes widened. A surprised laugh escaped her lips. And somehow, in that single moment, the heaviness both of them carried became just a little lighter. What started as a temporary arrangement quickly became something neither expected. They attended town events together, shared dinners after long workdays, spent weekends repairing fences around the family farm. To everyone else, they looked like newlyweds. The strange part was how natural it felt. For Rowan, the empty house that once echoed with loneliness slowly began filling with warmth again. For Sadie, the crushing weight she'd carried alone became easier to bear with someone beside her. Yet both knew the truth. The marriage wasn't real. At least, that was what they kept telling themselves. As summer arrived, Willow Creek bloomed beneath golden sunsets and endless fields of wildflowers. One evening, after a community barbecue, Rowan and Sadie sat on the tailgate of an old pickup truck overlooking the lake. Families laughed nearby. Children chased fireflies. The sky glowed orange and purple across the water. For the first time in years, Rowan felt peace, not because the pain of losing his wife had disappeared, but because someone had shown him it was possible to carry grief and hope at the same time. As Sadie leaned her head against his shoulder, he realized something terrifying. He loved her, not because she needed saving, not because of the arrangement, but because she had quietly become the brightest part of his life. Unfortunately, love rarely arrives without complications. A few weeks later, Sadie discovered a job opportunity in Denver. A major automotive company wanted her to lead a new engineering division. The salary would erase every debt she owed. The position could change her entire future. But it would also mean leaving Willow Creek, leaving the farm, leaving Rowan. The offer sat on her kitchen table for days. Neither of them knew what to say. Fear built walls where honesty should have lived. Then the morning arrived when she finally accepted the position. The moving truck was scheduled. Boxes filled the farmhouse, and Rowan convinced himself he had already lost too much in life to survive losing her too. On her final evening in town, he stood outside the farmhouse watching the sunset. Sadie walked onto the porch carrying a small cardboard box. Inside were photographs, pictures from town festivals, family dinners, fishing trips, moments that had started as pretend and somehow become real. Tears filled her eyes. She admitted she had accepted the job because she thought Rowan only saw her as a friend, because she believed he was still trapped in the memory of his past. For several painful seconds, neither spoke. Then Rowan finally did what fear had stopped him from doing for months. He told her the truth. He told her she had brought laughter back into a silent home. He told her she had healed pieces of his heart he thought were broken forever. And he told her he loved her. The tears came instantly. So did her smile, because she loved him too. The job offer remained. The opportunity was real. But some opportunities are worth more than money. Together, they found a compromise. Sadie accepted a consulting role that allowed her to work remotely while staying in Willow Creek. The family farm survived. The debts were paid. And 6 months later, surrounded by neighbors, friends, and everyone who had secretly rooted for them from the beginning, Rowan and Sadie stood beneath an old oak tree and exchanged vows for real this time. Before we reach the ending, comment below. Love still finds a way, if you believe true love can appear when least expected. Years later, visitors passing through Willow Creek would often see the couple working side by side at their expanded repair shop. They'd see laughter replacing old wounds, hope replacing loneliness, and a love story that began with a desperate favor, but became something far greater. Because sometimes the heart finds its way back to happiness through the most unexpected question. And sometimes, the person pretending to be your future turns out to be the one who is meant to stay forever. If this story touched your heart, please support Dream Porch Tales by liking this video, sharing it with someone special, and subscribing for more emotional romance stories filled with hope, healing, and unforgettable love. And as the sun set over Willow Creek, Rowan reached for Sadie's hand, smiling the same smile that had changed both their lives years ago. This time there was no pretending, only love.